Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So 8 days ago, Donald Trump defeated Kamala Harris, and this week it's time to get to work. The celebration is over. It's time to build a team, and that's what you do when you have a president. You elect a president, they appoint people to their cabinet, they select some people that don't exactly have to be appointed through the Senate to be lead advisors, and then you go from there. And Donald Trump has made a lot of selections, especially within the past couple of days, that are very intriguing, to say the very least, some of which are seen as firebrands and unexpected and, anti-establishment. Some are seen as a little bit more establishment-friendly, but nowhere near as establishment-friendly as the people that he decided to fill his first cabinet with. And it's true, Donald Trump, he's been around the block before. He knows who he can trust. It is about loyalty. Some people will say, well, you can't appoint based on loyalty. Yeah, he absolutely can, because Donald Trump does have a unique agenda when it comes down to his agenda in D.C. A lot of people in D.C. don't have that same agenda. There's a few exceptions, but still, there's a few people that Trump believes he can trust to enact the agenda that he wants to see enacted. He's vetted a lot of people. He's had a lot of time. He's been vetting these people for basically 8 years, waiting for, this moment to come, and that's exactly what he's doing. So we have plenty of appointments that Trump has made, and we're going to kind of break down what's going on. What do we make of all this stuff? Because a lot of people are like, well, they don't like the appointments. Some people love the appointments as well, but we're going to get to them. So the first one is Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, which I've been saying is going to happen since July, when Donald Trump kind of wanted to make him VP, but didn't want to have to deal with the whole residency thing because they both were from Florida. And this is an interesting pick because they both have a tenured history of being a little bit, I guess you would say, rivals back when Trump initially ran in 2016. But again, Rubio has improved a hell of a lot since then. He is somebody who worked with Trump during his administration, talked him out of military intervention, actually, when it came to Venezuela, and basically acted as his Secretary of State for the Western Hemisphere while Trump was in the White House last time. And again, this is a pick that a lot of people are questioning. It's probably the pick most people are most iffy on. And it's one of those things where I say, I think a lot of people are overhating on it. I do believe that I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but there's also a very good chance that he could prove a lot of people wrong, and he's going to have to. If he wants any aspirations like to be Vance's VP in 28 or whatever, he can't stab the base in the back. He's not dumb. He knows that. He's a blow the way the wind does kind of guy. But if Trump is the one that's really dictating where the wind is going, then that means that Rubio probably is going to be more solid. In fact, if you look at his voting record, even on foreign policy over the past year or two, you can see that he, has kind of eased off on that, interventionist mindset that he's had. And you can kind of see this here. He talked Trump out of military intervention in Venezuela, so it's not like he's somebody who just at the first possible sight of war is going to want to go to war. He could reorient Trump's foreign policy focus to this hemisphere, which, again, you talk about the Monroe Doctrine. We spend so much time talking about the Middle East, Eastern Europe. I'm not saying that those places aren't important, but still, I will say that he's more of a, peace. If he could be a peace through strength kind of guy, then he's going to do well. And he's kind of like a subservient individual in terms of if Trump's calling the shots, he's going to do what Trump wants him to do. Trump trusts him in terms of loyalty, and he also can get confirmed through the Senate. In that regard, I don't have an issue with him at all. There are cons, but again, a lot of those cons could apply to other people. A lot of people wanted Rick Grinnell. Rick Grinnell wouldn't even support Rubio in 2016. He wanted John Kasich, if we want to be completely, fair and analyze everybody and scrutinize everybody who might be iffy. But it is true, he's had those neocon tendencies. Somebody to watch, but there is a lot of potential there as well. His transformation could be genuine, just like what we've seen from somebody like a J.D. Vance. And then we have Matt Gaetz. This one was huge. This one came out of left field. And Gaetz has resigned from the House. So this is going to happen unless he's taking a dive for some reason for Trump. We'll see what happens. But Gaetz being nominated for AG, I don't think that was on many people's bingo cards. And again, you have somebody who is extraordinarily anti-establishment. He took on Kevin McCarthy head on, and he got him out of there as Speaker of the House. And the DOJ has been after him, and he is somebody that wants to gut it. He wants to go out there and gut it. This is a pick, some people will say revenge, but also of accountability. And that is kind of what Donald Trump wants to do with this guy. He is going to make sure if he gets in there, your worst case scenario is he ends up taking a dive, and then Trump is able to kind of use him as a bargaining chip to get somebody in there who might not have gotten confirmed, but it's like, relative. So you throw out a name and then you kind of, reel it in a little bit. But what we do know is that Gaetz, if he does get in there, he has a possibility to really reorient the Department of Justice and really do something special there. So an amazing pick by Donald Trump regardless. We'll see if he gets confirmed or if it pans out, because it does seem like, Collins, Murkowski, they may not vote to confirm, but some of those other Republican senators, are they going to fall in line? And maybe if they don't, Trump can use that as an excuse to primary them out, which would be pretty awesome as well, because you talk about draining the swamp, not just in the executive level, but in Congress as well. It needs to happen for sure. And then you have Pete Hegseth, which again, this is an intriguing selection. He's somebody who is he's a tough guy, very knowledgeable, double Ivy League degrees, smart guy, not a lot of experience though, in terms of his position in the military, but he is a veteran. He's a major. He's not a general, which is usually what is selected to lead the department. So it's kind of interesting to see what happens in terms of his confirmation odds. He's a Fox News host. And I think it's very telling that you have somebody who's kind of somewhat of a Trump loyalist. He's a Fox News host, but he's willing to go from his 7-figure job at Fox to go lead the Department of Defense, making just a tiny fraction of that. And that kind of speaks volumes. He's not somebody who really can be bought. He's not in this for that matter. And for the most part, he's been in line with Trump's agenda on foreign policy. Some people say he's a little hawkish in regards to Iran because he did, support Trump taking out Soleimani, floated further action at the time. But still, he is somebody that, again, is scaring the establishment, which is also a good sign. The Pentagon is stunned; they are worried, and yet a lot of bad people in the Pentagon, including the leadership under Trump. And what they did was they lied about troop numbers in Syria. Hegseth is not the kind of guy to do that. He's a loyalist, somebody that, will do what Trump exactly wants to do in the Pentagon, and that's kind of important. There's this notion of, do we go loyalty versus do we select somebody who's in lockstep with the ideas on an intellectual level? And I think you can have both, but part of striking the balance is picking people that are relatively loyal to the point where even if they have differences, they're going to do what you want to do. And maybe because they've had those tendencies on the topics that are a little iffy, then again, they're going to be able to get confirmed much more easily. So again, that's kind of what I would have to say to that. Now, this is out of left field. Kristi Noem for Homeland Security Secretary. And judging from the press release that Donald Trump put out, it seems like she's just going to kind of be the figurehead. She's going to be basically working for the border czar, Tom Homan, which is not an appointed position. We don't know if he would be able to be appointed into that position, if he would get confirmed into that position. So you kind of see that shake out. She's basically going to be the head of the department there. It really seems as if she's not going to be doing the lion's share of the work regarding the immigration problem, you name it. So again, a little bit out of a curveball, but it kind of makes sense, especially because you take somebody who, is a governor, a little bit iffy according to a lot of people, put her in the figurehead role in Washington. I think you could argue it's a win-win, even if it's kind of a meh pick for the Homeland Security position. She's not really going to be the one calling the shots, it seems. Then you have John Ratcliffe. He was one of the few good people in the intelligence department Trump appointed last time. He's bringing him back, and in his old position, you have Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, who is great when it comes down to foreign policy. Even when she was a Democrat, Donald Trump floated making her his Secretary of State back in late 2016. It never came into fruition. But if it did, he would have had a much better foreign policy overall. But you see what's going on. She has been appointed. Trump basically promised her a position in the administration. She helped lead the transition. She likely wanted the specific job, and it seems like she got it. We've covered Lee Zeldin in the previous video as the EPA administrator. He's kind of had a tenure in terms of his experience in the climate caucus on the Republican side in the House, and he is a solid attorney who's going to make sure he can remove certain regulations. Elise Stefanik, another Trump loyalist, she doesn't have a lot of experience in foreign policy, but again, her at UN ambassador, far better than Nikki Haley was, who Donald Trump ended up appointing last time. And then you have the no confirmation required section where you have J.D. Vance. Obviously, we've known that for a while. He's the VP. The running mate, Susie Wiles, is chief of staff. And then you have Stephen Miller is deputy chief of staff as well. A few other people, great policy advisors. Miller is great on policy, one of the best. Dan Scavino's in there as well. Tom Homan, his borders are phenomenal pick. Michael Waltz, he's somebody that, again, maybe you could say is a little hawkish, but kind of like a peace through strength hawk. He definitely used to be more of a supporter for aid in the whole Ukraine-Russia effort, but since then he's kind of lowered his grade on the Ukraine scorecard to a D-, so he's not somebody who's like a total, warmonger. He's more like a, we'll have a peace through strength presence type of hawk, and I think that's what Trump is going for, more of a realist foreign policy, which has kind of always been what he's had as his viewpoint on foreign policy. Like, some people are anticipating him to be a full-on isolationist. Like, no, he's somebody who's relatively non-interventionist, but at the same time hawkish in his own way, in like a realist type of way, where he doesn't want to go to war, doesn't want endless wars, but he's not going to shy away from having a presence on the world stage, obviously. And then you have some other people. But in terms of the other department that is informal, not technically appointable, but you have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. A lot of people said, where's Elon going to go? Where's Vivek going to go? They're going to create together DOGE, also known as the Department of Government Efficiency, to cut waste, trim the fat in the bureaucracy, drain the swamp, advise the president, work with the president, but kind of doing their own thing. It's like a shadow agency, and this is exactly what I've anticipated. Musk and maybe not Vivek, I didn't know where he would go, but this is where they're going to be. They're going to be right beside him, and that is, in my opinion, pretty epic, because we need to do that. We need to cut the debt. A lot of people said in the first term, Trump kind of broke his promise on the debt, and he didn't really have a set agenda. But now he has people right beside him, right with him, that are looking to enact that agenda. So overall, solid pick after solid pick after solid pick. Like, some of these picks you could say are like a B grade. Some are like an A to an A+. And the truth is, if you want to look back at the old cabinet, you had Elaine Chao, which was Mitch McConnell's wife, in the cabinet, Bush administration people. Bill Barr, one of the old Bush's AGs as AG, are going from Bill Barr to Matt Gaetz. Even though people have questions on Rubio, I've been a little bit more bullish on Rubio than some people in my audience, and that's okay. We'll see who's proven right. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but it's Trump's decision. It's not exactly mine, but hell of a lot better than Mike Pompeo. Across the board, you have improvement after improvement after improvement. Trump knows what he's doing. He's been to the White House for 4 years. He knows who we can trust, and he knows who we can't trust. And he's going all out. He's going big. He's putting Matt Gaetz in positions, Tulsi Gabbard, people like Pete Hegseth, who he knows he can trust. All around, I'd have to say these are great selections. We're not done yet. We don't know where RFK Jr. is going to go. It does seem as if he's going to get some role where he may have to also go through the Senate confirmation. So maybe it's Health and Human Services is where he's going to be, DEA, FDA, who knows. But either way, if he does that, and then maybe Kash Patel will end up being the FBI director, it's like, at that point, who else do you really need in the cabinet? You know, he could put pretty much anybody else in there and the thing's ready to go. So he's building a team. He's building a good team, in my opinion. We'll see if it pans out. And if it doesn't, guess what? He's Donald Trump. He knows how to fire people. So we'll see what happens, guys. But anyways, make sure you guys like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.